So I only broke one product on the stand at Eurobike today. So I guess you could say it was a pretty good day. Okay, welcome to the GPLama YouTube channel and to my wrap up of day 2. I'm actually losing my voice already. Of the world's biggest bicycle trade show here in Frankfurt, Eurobike 2024. Now it's still business days or still trade days, so it's not open to the general public just yet. So a lot of meetings are happening, a lot of industry people are here. Well, technically only industry people are here walking around. And today's video was going to be about the power meters and the head units or GPS units here at the show, but it became a bit of a mixed bag. It's one of these shows where you'll walk past a stand and you'll see something very interesting to capture your attention, and there goes 45 minutes. Anyhow, here's today's mixed bag, which includes mostly power meters, mostly head units, and a few other very interesting things, including Magien's very own Groupset. It's here. Didn't think it was going to be here. We saw Joe cover it up in, I think it was the Shanghai Cycle, but it's here in Frankfurt. All right, let's get into the details of what I saw today. Firstly, over to the SRAM stand and their Hammerhead bike computer, the Karoo 3, having been launched a few months ago, and it's a super bright screen. Look, we're not seeing many updates roll out yet, taking advantage of that new hardware, so hopefully we'll see some more on the software side of things soon. Now, also sticking with SRAM here, the new Eagle transmission Groupset here on show, but what I wanted to focus on here is their power meters and the fact that they just include power. It's not really even a news item for SRAM. If you want a SRAM Groupset with power, it comes with Quark technology. It's proven, it's done, it's a solved problem, and there it is. As opposed to Shimano, who, well, they do have a power meter of sorts, but it's only at a Durace and Ultegra level on the road. There's no option for GRX or mountain power yet for these guys. But two very different approaches of providing power for the end user. SRAM, blanket coverage. Shimano, still only road. Okay, onto a head unit that I do have back home, and from iGPSport. They have their flagship IGS 800 here. And look, I'll be honest, there's a bit of a language barrier with me only speaking English with the team that are here. But yeah, go for pros, power in every path. I'll return to this one at a later date with the unit that I have back home. Another company I passed in Hall 9 is Navihood. Now, they do say here on their stand, premium GPS bike computers, but in having a discussion with a gentleman here, he knew very well they're not competing at the high premium level of the Garmins, the Wahoos, the Hammerheads of this world. They're at the lower end, and they acknowledge that, and he's just showing me through the system here and what they're focusing on. It has an app and things he was quickly trying to show me there, but wasn't able to pull that up in the 30 seconds or so I said that I had. So he's just taking me through a few screens here. Now this unit's quite interesting. Looks like a very basic screen, but what caught my eye was this little one here that he pulled out of the box. So color screen, looked like it's got enough features on there for the basics. And he was taking me through a few of the specifications. So I don't have much detail on this. I think it's still unreleased. Again, this is a trade show. They're showing the concepts and everything for what can be released or discussed in the future to be sold. But as you can see here, just a smaller unit, very chunky, and quarter-turn mount, so compatible with everything. Obviously USB-C these days. I'll keep my eye on these ones. Typically, I don't do the lower-end bike computers. I want the full, rich experience. You can see here, this is one of the basic ones here with very, very Casio-style updates. You'll see the difference between this and what he just had in his hand before, so this is very basic. But look, anyway, just a brand you may not have heard of before. I certainly haven't had any hands-on with these ones. And they are a brand we do see in Australia at JB Hi-Fi. And credit where credit's due, they are the only company I've seen rip apart their bike computers here at Eurobike to showcase what's inside. So they're pretty confident with their build quality. Good stuff. I'll be keeping an eye on these guys, especially that little tiny unit with the color screen. Could be interesting. Now, during today, I got an email from MagicShine. They knew I was at the show, having seen my social post, and they invited me over to have a look at their new front light here, which is Shimano Di2 controlled. So the guy here on the stand is pressing the buttons there. The light's going up and down and bright. You can see the shadow here and the silhouette of the Di2 lever. Kind of interesting. I believe it's using D-Fly, but I'm not quite sure if this is the answer over standard Ant Plus lights and D-Fly control via your head unit. Yeah, anyhow, interesting stuff. Okay, back to power meters and a company called XCadey. If you're playing the long game here and you've subscribed for a while, you would have seen a number of products reviewed from these guys a while back. They now have a rechargeable spider power meter here on one of these super light crank setups and carbon chain rings there, but I also spotted this. Just a prototype, so not a full-blown product, but something we may see hit the market soon from XCadey if they can get it right, and that's the hard part, getting a power pedal right. Very, very hard task. Now, I do believe, if I recall correctly, their spider power meter is reviewed pretty well, so I might see if I can source one of these and do a retest of the new unit. A company that I didn't spot yesterday for my overall coverage of what's new indoors was Agiliton. Just don't tell Peloton that company name. Here with 3 different indoor trainers, sort of a Flux/Volt style trainer, more of a high-end trainer, and this kind of Tron bikey type thing. So Agiliton, a company I'd never heard of before. But a little bit of research later on the web, and we find out they are linked to Power Plus, which may ring a bell for a few people. So the Smart Trainer V4 here they have on their website, pretty stock standard specs there. A smart bike, which looks similar to what they had on the shop floor there, or the expo floor, and their little Smart Trainer V6 here again, sort of mid to low range specs and a heart rate monitor. So Agiliton, keep your lawyers handy, guys. Peloton may be coming. A company name you should know here on the channel, Magene. Now last year they were here at Eurobike with the C606 preview, which is over there on the left. Now, center screen here, the C506 is here and on preview. Not a lot of technical specifications. I am told that it's very similar, if not the same, as the C606, just in a smaller form factor. I will get confirmation of all these details when this product goes to the retail channels, and not just here on preview, but super bright, very familiar interface there. I am familiar with the C606, but the 506 here on show, and a little smaller, but that's not all from Magene. Oh, not all at all. And here is their new wireless group set. And the shift speed, I've got to say, was very, very impressive. I was also trying to trip up the front derailleur. You can see that on front derailleur up, front derailleur down. It's very, very snappy with the demonstration unit they had here on show. A little closer look there at the front derailleur. Up and down, up and down. Press and hold shifting, sails straight up and sails straight back down. In the hand, on the stand, it actually worked very, very well. I've got to say I was impressed. I need to try it on a bike though. Launched during Eurobike is the new giant Revolt here on the stand, and here's me getting a closer look at that rear derailleur hanger, which is not UDH. Things that make me go, and things that will be a little clearer in a couple of weeks' time that will probably also make you go, why didn't they do UDH? Onto a company who did release a power meter not so long ago, Campag, who didn't have their power meter on show here and were tucked away in a very small stand and continue their downward spiral of popularity. Look, I'll call it like it is. We just don't see this stuff anymore, and look, the power meter's not even here or on show. But a company that does have power meters on show, Xpedo, and their Omni range, supporting all the cleat types, SPD SL, Look, SPD, 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 coming in at $749 US or $899 US for the TI versions there on the right. Plus or minus 1%. Release date predicted to be September. Not quite sure which year, but September. We'll get these on the bike if I can get a hold of them and really put them to the test. I'm keen to check their Q-Factor claims too. And also on the stand was their Sonic SPD SL compatible pedal. I'm still trying to get a hold of these. Apparently they're now released, so stay tuned, maybe. Okay, speed run time. We have Sigma here with the Sigma Rocks 12.1, I believe, flagship product. The Sigma Rocks 4, which I think's been out for a few months, and an absolute bucket load of other lower-end devices on show. A brand I covered last year here at the show, Trimm, and their Trimm 2 e-ink style, very thin bezeled unit, which looks pretty nice. I think this was in demo mode, so it wasn't responsive. But they're back again with the Trimm 2, and note to exhibitors, don't put your devices behind shiny glass, we can't focus. And another hot tip for exhibitors, don't put products that you really want people to see almost out of sight. As I walked off, I noticed there was a colour version of the Trimm, and lo and behold, there's a new unit. Well, new unit coming soon. The Vivid. pulling up some of the technical specifications on the info sheet I was provided. Looks like an interesting little unit, but the sub $100 price point they quoted really had my attention. Let's see if they can do that. Garmin are always present at Eurobike with a big stand, and here they are showcasing the recently released Edge 1050 in all its glory. Also, here it is on the stand alongside the X40 series, which will remain part of the lineup for GPS units from Garmin. And as soon as I'm home back in Australia, I'll be testing out the recent firmwares for the X40 series, which apparently adds a number of these new functions seen on the 1050 and also has apparently, rumoured, maybe, fixed the gradient lag problem on those units too. Back to our friends at Cycplus with their concept art of a future release, a higher end bike computer. No names, no specs, nothing. Coming soon, added to this lineup here, which is their current range of GPS units. Now, the last thing I'll cover today isn't a power meter or a head unit. It's an Aero sensor from Streamlines, who work with Visma Lisa Bike. Yes, I got that right. Sorry, just checking my notes here. I always call them Yumbo. A few years back at Eurobike, Ray and I were shooting the breeze about how many companies were working on Aero sensors, but we just hadn't seen anything decent on the market that worked. I think there's a couple of companies getting close. This looks to be one of them. With Connect IQ integration, it's not a hokey setup with different sensors and things and apps and crap running off your bike. Oh, it has laser beams too. Lasers. Who doesn't want lasers on their bike? But we'll see where this one lands. Okay, so that's a wrap of my day 2 at Eurobike, and just a few things that caught my attention that I turned the camera on to have a look at as I was walking the halls and having catch-ups and meetings and everything else that's involved in being here at Eurobike during the trade days. Oh, and also getting lost a few times again. I had way too much confidence thinking that I knew my way around. Wasn't the case. All right, stay tuned. More to come on both here and on Instagram too. So if you're not following me on Instagram, be sure to hit me up over there. There's a few things I'm posting and a bit of fun behind the scenes too. All right, thanks for watching.